Good morning, good evening, good whatever time it is you're listening to this. I hope you're having a good one. I'm going to be going over the data sets, the earnings, and the SPY for May 6th, 2025. And let's go ahead and get started. Now, I'm just going to preface this video. I recorded literally a 30-minute video going over an absolute ton of details, and I'm very upset right now because my program decides to randomly cut off my microphone. So, we're going to go through this very quickly. I apologize if I sound upset. I'm not a happy camper right now. Yeah, so let's go ahead. Today, Monday, the data sets came in pretty in line. Nothing major there. The 3-year no auction, the yields went up slightly. Little concerning, but nothing major yet. Tomorrow, Tuesday, May 6th, we have exports and imports. Not a very important data set at all. We also have a short-term energy outlook. Again, not a very important data set at all. We might be able to play some sort of energy. I'm so upset right now. We might be able to play some energy sector type play off of this, but I'm not looking forward to this moving the market at all. Now, the 10-year auction is very important because we are seeing the treasury yields move upward. Now, the 10-year is extremely important because many of the countries we are dealing with, whether they are allies or enemies, they own our 10-year treasuries, and our 10-year treasuries mean they own our debt. Um, that's important for us to have value to our debt, so we do not want other countries dumping our debt, because that will greatly devalue these notes. So that's kind of the skinny on it. The treasury market's really kind of being cautious right now. So with the yields pulling upward, we do want to see what happens with the 10-year because the 10-year is the most important out of all the yields. This is the highest written note available. This is the one with the most liquidity. So this is the most important. Yeah, not a very important day. Even though my treasury stuff might sound pretty important. Not super important right now unless we get a massive increase or decrease, or if we hear of a country dumping their 10-year yields. Now, let's quickly go over the earnings again. Sorry, I'm so upset. This happens to me all the time, and tonight was just not the night I needed it. Today we had Palantir and HIMS. Now, Palantir did really good. It had a double beat plus good guidance. However, the after hours is down negative 10% right now. And the reason why that is because of how growth has to happen in tech. And that means that each consecutive quarter you have to continuously beat your results and beat your results and beat your results. And sometimes these great earnings just aren't great enough. Sometimes these great earnings can actually be under what the expectations truly were for the big money. Even though the forecasters might say we were expecting an EPS of blah blah blah, um, it's really the big money that needs to see the growth in these companies really just knocking it out of the park and continuing to knock it out of the park. So um, that was a real big concern for this earnings season is that um, we could start seeing a lot of these big techs starting to fall short of hitting that big beat of just absolutely blowing away the earning. So with that said, Palantir is negative right now. AMD is the really big earning for tomorrow. There isn't a whole ton of super important earnings in here. We do have SMCI as well. That can be important, but that's not going to be something that's going to drastically move the market. AMD will be the market mover if we have a massive beat or a massive miss. We have Riven as well, Upstart, Lucid, and that's really it for tomorrow. We have Celsius and Dash in the pre-market, but not really looking forward to that. Yeah, the big earning this week is really AMD, so we will see how that works out in the after hours. Just a quick reminder before we get into the technical analysis. If you've been finding value in my insights, consider joining my Patreon. For just $12.99 a month, you'll get access to my trades, courses, and powerful tools to help you grow as a trader. I'd love to have you be a part of our team and community. And it's less than 43 cents a day. So if you'd like to join, click in the link in the description. Thanks. And jumping straight into the technical analysis again. Still really upset. Um, let's just quickly go over this. I went into so much detail earlier. Would have been a really great video. Okay, so the market closed at 563.51. The 5 mile is currently at 559.52. So very likely we're going to see the 5 mile opening between the 560 to 561. Very likely closer to the 560 because the overnight is pulling downward significantly. The overnight is currently at 561.82. Now, I'm not going to really discuss the 10 mile or the 20 mile, but I'm going to discuss kind of the implications of their level. Now, the 10 mile has finally pulled above the 550 range, so it's at 550.85, which means that medium term support, I can't talk, medium term support has been pulled upward slightly. Now, the 20 mile is starting to creep its way up to the 540. It's at 536.90. It's at 537.96, and very likely another 2 sessions and it will be hitting the 540 mark. Now, since the 5 mile is at 559 right now and very likely opening around 560, 561, that means the upper bounds of the 5 mile is going to be around 563 and the lower bounds is going to be within the 558 range. That means currently in the overnight we are already testing the upper bounds. So keep that in mind. It's very likely we test the upper bounds and head all the way down to the lower bounds, which as we head downward, say we head all the way down to the 558, that's also going to be pulling the 5 mile downward as well, which means that the lower bounds of the 5 mile also gets pulled downward. So don't be surprised if we see a move all the way down to like 556, even though the 5 mile might be at 559, 560. Just be aware that as the 5 mile pulls upward or downward, the upper and lower bounds of the 5 mile will follow suit with that. Now, quickly going over structure. I had such a good video. I'm really upset. I explained everything so well. Okay, so today we built the right shoulder of this small little head and shoulders, and in the grand scheme of things, we were looking for bearish structure in this large cups handle. Okay, and I'm just going to go to the 4-hour chart. You guys can all follow on the 1 hour, but for me it's easier to see it on the 4 hour just because of the program. Now, what are we looking for from here? We're looking for what the market does with the 5 mile. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to pull all the way down to 542, but that is something we need to be careful of, is that we can start forming an inverse cup here now that we have a head and shoulders formed. So we can start pulling downward and form an inverse cup, which would finish out the head on this larger head and shoulders. So very likely we're going to see the 5 mile tested. If it is rejected, then we do have the 20 mile right in this range right now, and that will be pulling upward. My stuff is magnet to the screen, so I can't move it like I need to, and I'm not gonna get more frustrated than I am right now, so we're just gonna pretend to follow along. The 20 mile is right in this range right now. It's gonna be pulling upward towards the 540, so if the market wants to pull downward towards the 540 within a session or two, it definitely can. It can even build a handle in that range to pull back upward in that area right there to form that right shoulder. Okay, and pull back upward, retest support, and if it's going to reject downward, something like that. Okay. Um, so yeah, continue looking to build out the bearish structure. The upside is currently pretty far from us. It's all the way up at the 576 range, up with the upper Bollinger. And as the 20 MA is pulling up each session, the upper Bollinger is going to be expanding upward. So each session it's pulling farther and farther away, essentially. Uh, we need to retest support here, and that support currently is the 5 MA. And then after the 5 MA, it will either be the upper Bollinger or heading down to the 20 MA. So yeah, that's tonight's video. I apologize for being frustrated. Um, I'm just really disappointed that my microphone likes to do this sometimes because I recorded a really good video. But yeah, um, look for what the market does with the 5 MA tomorrow or the next day. That's going to be kind of the main trade to take from here. Um, Not trying to go for the upper Bollinger right now, not trying to go for the 20 MA. We just need to wait for the 5 MA to test again. And we know the 5 MA test is coming because it generally happens once or twice a week. So it is in line to get ready to hit that level and test again. So yeah, trade safe everybody, have a great day, and I will talk to you in the next video, and hopefully I won't be as frustrated. So have a good night.